Good morning, Coach Slack here. Continuing our readings of the ascetical homilies of St. Isaac the Syrian. This is day 18, still working through homily 3, page 131, a series of question and answers. Question: why does the fulfilling of the bodily passions strengthen and make the body grow, while those of the soul harm the soul, if they are proper to her? And for what reason does virtue torment the body, but enrich the soul? Answer: do you not see how things that are external to a nature harm it? For every nature is filled with gladness when it draws near to what is proper to it. And do you wish to know what is proper to each nature? Observe: that which aids nature is proper to it, but that which is harmful is alien and invades it from without. Therefore, since it is known that the passions of the body and the soul oppose one another, it is evident that although the soul should employ something that helps and relieves the body, this thing should not be thought to belong to the soul's nature. For what is proper to the soul's nature is death to the body, but by a figure of speech it is nevertheless attributed to the soul. And because of the body's frailty, she cannot be liberated from these things so long as she is clad with the flesh. For through God's inscrutable wisdom, by nature, the soul has been made a sharer in the body's griefs, by reason of the union of her movement with the body's movement. But although they are thus partakers of one and another, still the movement of one is separate from the movement of the other, the will of one from the will of the other, the body from the spirit. Nature remains totally unconfused, and it does not suppress its properties. Every nature, specifically that of the soul and the body, though a man forcibly brings it into agreement with either sin or virtue, will exert its own will and breed its own offspring. When the soul is raised from the bodily cares, then by the action of the spirit, she, in her entirety, stimulates her movements to blossom forth, and in the bosom of heaven she swims amidst incomprehensible things. But even when this occurs, the body is permitted to retain a consciousness of what is proper to it. Likewise, if the body is found in sin, the soul's own deliberations do not cease to spring up in the understanding. Wow. Yeah, so that's, as we often find, such a deep question and answer here that St. Isaac's giving us. A couple things come to mind, though. Number one, for those of us, just living day to day in the world, so to speak, is finding the balance, and I really think the Orthodox Church presents this to us, the fasting periods, the non-fasting periods, the mysteries or sacraments of the Church, participating in those, at least going to liturgy once a week, on Sundays, the day of resurrection, these types of things. I think that's where we can find this balance to feed both our soul and our body to a healthy lifestyle. And of course, like St. Isaac and some of the monastics, even the monastics that some of the ones that I've met in these days, live a much more ascetical life. But like my spiritual father says to me, sometimes we're talking about fasting and these types of things, prayer rules and such. He says, you're not a monastic living in the desert in the 6th century or something, 8th century. You're wrestling, you're roofing, you're doing your solar work, you're going about day to day, and so there's different measures that each of our callings brings us. So again, it goes back to that balance. Anyhow, and then at the end, something occurred to me. But even when this occurs, the body is permitted to retain a consciousness of what is proper to it. Likewise, if the body is found in sin, the soul's own deliberations do not cease to spring up in the understanding. And the thought that was occurring to me when I read that the first time through was kind of like it's like listen to your conscience, like the Jiminy Cricket character in the Disney movie Pinocchio. It's like, oftentimes we know what is right and wrong, especially on a superficial level. We're growing up and we're about to do something maybe we shouldn't. We know it, but temptation, is what we're dealing with. And even on a more layered level as we mature, maybe we're not going to do something physically risky or stupid as we get older, but maybe our thoughts, maybe we're judging another person or gossiping about another person, and that temptation gets us. Or even maybe something like fear or anxiety, some of these types of things, the temptations of that. Again, where the church offers us prayer rules and mysteries and sacraments and a schedule of our lives, a system, if you will, to help us deal with these daily temptations, to strengthen our faith in God and to trust in His will as something a little bit more profound, or something that our mind can't totally always wrap itself around. But anyhow, these are some things that come to mind, and like all of these pages, you could spend a lifetime on each page, but we'll do one page a day, and hopefully it will enrich our souls and our bodies and help us in our lives to live a virtuous life. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.